At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
Now, I know many of you guys have probably not heard that audio clip before, for it is something that is not widely seen, as you can clearly see. You can type that video in and find it yourself. MLK, we're coming to get our check. It only has like 80,000 views on YouTube, right? Compared to his other stuff having hundreds of thousands of views. Look, that's the type of stuff that they don't want us to acknowledge. And there's a lot of people that go deeper into that information on YouTube, such as Dane Calloway, you know, people like that. Shout out to them for their good research that they provide to all of us. Very grateful and appreciative of that. But I just want us to take a moment and apply that to the migrant crisis situation that we're seeing transpire today. And, you know, I didn't get on here just to break down, you know, what's going on. We can clearly see that, you know, millions of people are flooding in, you know, to the Americas and all of that right now. And I want to propose a possibility as far as outside of the box thinking as to why they're doing this. And I believe it's the same reason that they've always done it with. And in all reality, nothing has changed ever. Nothing has ever changed. You know, so when we look at the scope of the world, you have to be brave enough to look at it from such a non-biased and such a wide scope point of view that you realize that the same thing has been happening for a long time. And just as you heard in that audio clip, I need you to understand that the same thing is happening today, but why did they do it back then? You know, why are they doing it right now? I believe they're doing it right now because of the simple fact that they are truly trying to get their numbers up. And I'm gonna break that down here momentarily, and I'm not the only one that's bringing light to this. But we have to understand that we were never the minority. We're not the minority right now. In fact, when we talk about it, we have to understand that we've never been the minority. Like that's so important for us to really dive into and understand. They tricked us and lied to us. He who has the pen has the power. They've written it, rewritten it 100,000 times, thousands of times. And I want you to understand that they never thought that we'd be able to write and read. So because they thought that, or at least in their language, we were already here writing and reading, but that's a different discussion, or at least in that language. So the fact that we're reading it now, we're finding the discrepancies within it. We're finding that the numbers are not adding up. We're finding the lies. We're finding the different laws that were passed and the different laws that are continuously passed that are not in our favor and never have been in our favor. They've been positioned to be against us from the very beginning. And I take a unique stance on all of this. So, you know, really pay attention to what I'm saying. But they are doing this because they know that we understand now we're not the minority. They know that. And their numbers are so low that they have to try to do things like this to make it to where, you know, they can have better control. Because here's the thing, you know, I see a lot of people getting on social media and, you know, highly upset about this in the city of Chicago, New York, places like that. And I'm currently not in any of those places. You know, I'm in that Eastern Band Cherokee territory right now. You know, that's where I spend most of my time at. But I want you to understand that I still see the effects of these things happening, because that what happens on that social, it transpires into real life in every sector, right? Because the people are beginning to get restless. The people are not understanding, and they're not agreeing with what's going on. They're getting upset about what's going on, and then a lot of new things are coming brought to light, and there's so many individuals getting on social media in that Chicago, getting on social media in that New York, getting on social media in Texas, and they're getting on there saying, hey, how is it that these people just got here and yet you're giving them this, and this, and you know, it's homeless people doing this. These are black communities that don't have, and I'll get to that word black, but the so-called black communities that don't have the proper schools, and you built them a school, this and that. You're sending all this money to these foreign countries and all this. And we have to understand that when you really take a look at history, and Dan Calloway actually said this, that the government has always been a foreign entity. This is a foreign entity that we have for a government that was never putting this land first. And when you look at the history, you look at even recent history at that, you come to see how true that actually is when you look at it from a non-biased point of view. And I want everyone to understand that what's transpiring right now is no different than what King said right before he died. It's no different. It's the same thing that was happening in 1860. The same thing is happening right now, because the undeniable fact is that it has always been this way. They have facilitated and put other people over the people that are here right now. We're not even getting into the color discrepancy or getting into the ethnic discrepancy or whose land it is and whose land it's not. I'm saying just all the people that are here right now they're not even getting put first. And that's where the real issue is coming in at, because they're like, everyone's like that now. And so when we really dive into what's going on, I find it very important for us to focus on a few key points. And one of those points is, I need you guys to stop calling yourself black. Stop doing this. Because by calling yourself black, that's like you voluntarily saying, I am a second-class citizen. That's essentially what you are saying to yourself, because or vocalizing or writing about yourself, however you're putting it out there, because black is not a nationality. There is no black lands. There is no really real race of, it's not a nationality, you know. So there is no homeland for the black person. Where does the black person belong? Somebody please tell me that. If you go to any other country with melanated beings and as their original inhabitants, or just inhabiting the space in general, they do not call each other black. I know that for a fact. See, there's a lot of old Pan-Africanism theory, which was only invented to infiltrate us anyway. There's a lot of all of that theory that's going on that's still lingering around. And the funny part about it is that I know people in that continent, and they don't call each other that. They don't even call the continent Africa. They don't refer to themselves as even African. They refer to themselves by their tribe affiliation. That's how they refer to themselves, or their nationality. I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a Liberian. I'm a Moroccan. You know, I'm a Kenyan. They associate with their nation. They associate with their tribes. When we break it down further than that, you know, and their titles within all of that. So this whole theory and all of that, you know, I have other videos, What is the African American, on the channel right now that really dives into that. But at this point, I don't even care about making the difference between, you know, people want to argue, are we American Indians? Are we Hebrew Israelites? Are we this? Are we Moors? You know, when it comes down to all of that, like, there's no need to even get into all of that. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Just anything but black. Anything but black. Because when we dive into what is black, this was a class system that was created when they first came over here. And that is not something that I subscribe to. It's not something that you should subscribe to. And I want to bring it to your attention that these individuals assume that we associate like this. They assume that. I remember I was in the sauna one time, and I was at my gym that I go to. I had just got done working out, and it's this older white man that comes in. And if I had to guess his age, I'd say he's probably in his late 60s. So he comes in, you know, speaks hello, you know, I was, you know, nice, spoke back, and you know, somehow politics came up. Not sure how it came up, but he was talking to me and assuming that I was against Trump. He was assuming that I was against the Republican Party. He was assuming that I even got into any of that at all. And I've noticed that a lot of individuals will talk to us and they will assume of which side that we're on, and they start talking about who they're voting for. They start talking about different policies, and they start trying to, I could tell he was trying to talk in a manner to which he didn't think I knew what he was talking about, but I was more well versed in what he was talking about than what he even is. And so the manner in which he was talking, using words that I knew the definition of, you know, trying to act like that I didn't though, and he was talking in a manner of acting like he was doing me a favor by representing that party or representing that agenda, this and that. And I said, look, don't you think that what they're doing currently is much, much worse? I mean, we don't know what right and left is. I mean, we don't know. We're not allowed to call a girl a girl. We're not allowed to be masculine. We're not allowed to do a lot of the fundamental things that not too long ago there was nothing wrong with. And yet right now we're existing in a time where that's wrong all of a sudden. And, you know, I said, don't you think that it's going to be a rude awakening for even the military whenever they have to face a worthy first-class opponent that is not adopting those absurd doctrines like Russia, like some of these other nations, China, like nations that don't subscribe to that. Whenever all of the most of the real men out of the militaries, they are going to private military companies now. Know that for a fact as well. Also, me and my boxing coach were sitting there one time, just to add on to this story, and you know, he was like, man, they didn't meet their quota. He used to be in the military way back in the day, and he was like, you know, they're not meeting their quota for the young men because they are selling this dream that, you know, a 5'1" 110-pound woman is equal to this 6'2" 240-pound man, and they both have to have equal rights in this combat and this and that. And you know, he had a point, and the math doesn't lie. You know, they didn't meet their requirements, and that is why, because the young men like myself would much rather build private military companies, join private military companies, than get involved with stuff like that. And, you know, that's on the rise as well. And I wanted to, you know, bring that point to his attention because he just thought that I was going to go with what he was saying. He got mad and started talking about the gun laws, this and that. And I'm like, look, he was like, look, somebody could walk in this gym right now and shoot both of us if they wanted to. And, you know, that the laws enabled it. The Tennessee governor did this and that. The North Carolina governor did this and that. The congressman in Florida did this and this. And I'm like, look, every person that I know that even has a gun, I'm going to just keep it real. Everyone I know that has a gun, that carries it religiously, is already a felon. So I don't know what that was supposed to mean. See, they're living in a false reality altogether, a lot of them. But everyone I know that carries a firearm is already a felon. They already not supposed to have it. So these laws that you're passing are only condemning the citizens that have nothing to, you know, no reason not to do. Like, it's condemning the good citizens, and that's not a good sign for them to wanting to be taking that away. And so I wanted to get my point across to him, and he was like, well, he said something about black people, and I was like, I'm not black. And he was like, oh yeah, but yeah, you are. He like sarcastically was like, yeah, but they're gonna look at you and say you're black, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not black. And that's the problem right here. You know, this has gone on for way too long. It's gone on for too long that we've allowed such a thing like this to take place whenever it makes no logical sense for us to be categorized this way. We're the only group of individuals that are categorized, recategorized, and, you know, no one knows their true lineage. You know, people are saying they're Moors, people are saying they're Hebrew Israelites, some people are saying they're American Indians. Really, at this point, it don't matter which one you subscribe to. Just subscribe to one and stop calling yourself black altogether. You know, subscribe to one, get down with one. It's a common, you know, occurrence in all of them. You know, they do have differences, but at least you're not calling yourself black, because I put this right here, and you know, it's breaking down definitions. I've done it before. So we have the American Indian, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation or community attachment. And then we have black, a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Then we have white. A person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. So I just want you guys to be aware that when we're looking at documents like the census, when we're looking at other documentation, Middle Easterns are considered white. It just told you that in this one. Hispanics and Mexicans are considered white. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they asked a person what they were. He said, I'm a white Mexican. I wouldn't be surprised if his race on his ID or his race on documents like this, if he's picking white. I know that a lot of them are doing that. So these people that are coming in are clicking this class of people within this land, and our people are still clicking black, African American, and you're not even going to ever go to Africa, but nonetheless you were born here. So how does it make sense? What other group of individuals are ever called two continents? It's not Ghanaian American, it's not Moroccan American, it's not Liberian American. It's a continent. It's two continents. That makes no sense at all, and we just blindly accept that. And I want you to understand that there's also a reason why they want to do that, when it makes no sense. We should pay more attention to that. But I have a solution for all of that. Solution is very simple. Actually, we can nip it in the bud about who's what and what's going on. Do your genealogy. If you just do your genealogy, then you know where people come from. Look, it's not a secret. The records do exist. I don't care what lies you were told in school. I don't care what lies that Google or Wikipedia tells you. I don't care what your favorite Instagrammer, YouTuber, TikTok, whatever they're talking about. I don't care what your local government's talking about, the federal government's talking about. The records do exist. On FamilySearch.com, Ancestry.com, you can figure out and get to it. You might have to go to the National Archives. I'm not gonna lie, I have to go to the National Archives here soon. But I want you to understand that nonetheless, though, they do exist, and you can figure out who was where. And really, to be honest with you, you don't even have to go as far as the National Archives. I would suggest you to do so, but I know some of you guys are not gonna take it that serious. But for those of you that are, like, that's suggested because you're able to really get the documentation to prove it. But I didn't have to get documentation from National Archive to know. I have to get that to prove it. But to know, that was all readily available online and just talking to the oldest people in my family. And that's all that it really requires. So we can fix all of that by simply doing your genealogy. Now, in addition to that, right, after the genealogy is done, we must understand that I created a video that they don't want you guys to see. I've already gotten flagged on it. It was creating an ecosystem. The ecosystem is the goal. The goal is the ecosystem, I believe was the actual name. And I was talking about how we have to build an ecosystem. So many of you guys are aware of what this signifies right there. You know, that the blockchain technology and all of that, not going to use too many specific names because they don't like it when I talk about the fact that this technology liberates and this technology allows us to be decentralized. And that's really the goal to all of this. I see too many people wanting to sit up there and go to City Hall, sit up there and go to these same government institutions, these same colleges, these same institutions that were put in place to never have you do anything. These same people that are not even the same people, but the same institutions that signed treaty after treaty after treaty after treaty and broke every last one of them. At the same time that they gave the treaties that you had, that we already had, they gave that away to somebody else. They facilitated someone else to come over from somewhere else and get it. Regardless of whether you're saying you're American Indian, Moor, Hebrew Israelite, whatever, that was facilitated despite whatever you are saying you stem from. Doesn't matter. That's still the reality of the situation, is that what you were promised was given to somebody else for a fact. And I want everyone to understand that I'm not wasting no time protesting. I'm not wasting no time in City Hall. I'm not wasting no time talking to no politicians. I'm not wasting no time doing none of that. The corporations already own all of that anyway. That's a lost cause. That's foolish to think that that is what we should do. What we should be doing is doing your genealogy. Stop calling yourself black. You need to start investing in yourself, as far as come and build with the individuals and men like myself. I'm not even giving a plug for you to come and shop over here. Like, I don't even care where you shop at. I don't care what you subscribe to, what individuals you resonate with. It is what it is. I am that I am, and I'm gonna be here on the front lines with it regardless. You know, whoever's with me is with me, and we gonna ride to the very end. But at the same time, we got to start coming together in different groups, even if it is some people, the Hebrew Israelites over here doing this, the American Indians over here doing this, the Moors over here doing this. Like, even if that is what's going on, you got to start banding up with individuals, and we got to start creating our own ecosystems. We got to start utilizing the technology that's at hand right now to benefit the ecosystem. We got to start utilizing and getting land. We got to start doing all that type of stuff. And the best way to do that is for all of us to make our great escape.